Well, this is a very significant step on the path to peace. For the very first time, all three countries are sitting down together. There's been plenty of talks between the US and Russia, the US and Ukraine, but we haven't seen Ukraine and Russia communicating directly. And after nearly 4 years of conflict, there is some real hope that we might now see some momentum towards achieving some sort of peace deal. But will we have conversations or confrontations in Abu Dhabi? That is not clear. The US, though, very much trying to act as the glue, holding all of this together. Now, we've seen plenty of diplomacy this week. Donald Trump met with Volodymyr Zelensky in Davos, Switzerland. We had a US negotiating team heading to Moscow to meet with Vladimir Putin. So therefore, there's lots of momentum. There's lots of hope. But achieving that breakthrough, I think, is still going to be very difficult because there are some major sticking points at play. And just ahead of these talks kicking off this Friday, we heard from the Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, and he maintained that Russia's position is still about achieving total control of the Donbass region, including territory that Ukraine is still holding on to. Dmitry Peskov said that this was a very important condition. He said that Ukrainian armed forces must leave the territory of Donbass, but that is a red line for Kyiv. They do not want to hand over the whole of that region to Moscow. There's also the issue of security guarantees. That's something that Ukraine wants to safeguard themselves from possible future invasion from Russia. They want both the US but also European allies to be able to provide those security guarantees. On Thursday, Volodymyr Zelensky said that a framework agreement on security guarantees had been written up, not yet signed, but there had been good progress on that with the United States. And one other sticking point has also come into play, and that is frozen Russian assets, about $5 billion worth. Moscow is suggesting that that money could be used for reconstruction in its own territory. President Zelensky, though, however, has called this nonsense. This is day one, potentially of 2 days of talks. It depends really on how the first day goes and whether we head into a second day as well. Still waiting for updates to see how all of this is unfolding and whether or not progress has actually been made. Nick Harper for A News in Washington, D.C.